So I was sitting in class today, pretty much completely zoned out from any reality whatsoever as to what was going on in the classroom, and I was thinking about what I was going to talk about when I got on to record later today. So after sitting there for about half an hour, covered in my own drool by this point, I finally came to the conclusion that I would just go ahead and talk about my gaming background. I feel like that'd be a good topic. So basically it all started probably when I was around 5 or 6. I'm not too sure. It was when I was pretty young. I hadn't really gotten too much into video games at this point because the only console we had in the house was the PlayStation 2, and I wasn't really allowed to play that much. I mean, I did, but I didn't really have much of an interest in it. Video games were really complicated to me at that time, so I didn't really understand how to play them. Like, honestly, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot was like playing a game of chess against Albert Einstein for me as a kid. I got so confused, and I would just get stuck on these random levels and just couldn't beat them, and I would just get mad and rage quit the games. So at that point I wasn't too much into video games, but I would say my uncle, who at the time was probably around early 50s, late 40s, he would always carry around a little Game Boy Advance wherever he went, and he would play Pokemon. And it's kind of strange because, you know, most adults wouldn't play Pokemon, but he did. And that pretty much got me into it. I played it a little bit, you know, whenever he would come over to our house and he would let me play on his Game Boy. And that kind of sparked my interest for Pokemon. And that was like a whole new world to me. I was super excited about it. And I would beg and beg and beg to get a Game Boy Advance for my birthday. And finally, one birthday when I was like 5 or 6, as I said, I finally got one. And I was so excited. Like, honestly, this was like childhood moments. This was the pinnacle of my life. Alright, like I was on cloud 9 once I got this thing, dude. I was so happy. I got it with Pokemon Red. That's the first Game Boy game I ever had, and I played. Guys, when I say I played this game for a long time, I'm not even kidding you. I would play this game 7 hours a day all the time. So Pokemon had pretty much taken over my life at this point, and like I was honestly addicted to it. I'm pretty sure I had problems as a kid. Like I should have seen a doctor at this point because of how much I was playing this game. But, you know, I didn't, and I turned out okay. I think. And for the most part, I never even noticed anything was wrong with me. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I looked weird to everyone else around me because I literally just became antisocial at that point. Like, my life was Pokemon, so I never saw anything wrong with it. But the time that I finally realized I had a problem was, we had one rule. My parents gave me one rule with the Game Boy. And you're probably going to think this is self-explanatory, but I didn't think about this stuff as a kid, alright? So just leave me alone, alright? Basically, I could do anything I wanted with it, but I couldn't take it into the bathtub with me, okay? So that was the one rule. I couldn't take my Game Boy into the bathtub. And what I started to do was, because, you know, the rebel that I am, you know, 'cause let's be real here, I'm hardcorest person in the world. I would sneak into the bathroom like 5 minutes before my mom or dad would come get me to take my bath, and like I would hide it up under one of the towels in our towel racks, and then go back to my room and do whatever I was doing, and then they would open up my door and tell me I had to go take a bath. So then I would just, you know, be like, okay mom. So then I would walk into the bathroom and, you know, do my thing, and they would walk out after they made sure I was okay. Because I was pretty young at this point. My parents were pretty protective. So yeah, they would walk out, and, you know, I would just hop on out and grab my Game Boy, and I'd get to playing, you know, just what I always did. I didn't honestly see a problem with it. So I continued this on for a solid month, probably. I'm surprised I lasted this long with it. Hold on. I can't believe you just lost that gunfight. I'm just being honest, that kid sucks, dude. One day, the unthinkable happened. I was sitting there, just chilling, you know, hanging back in the tub, bubbles touching me in places that felt pleasing, and it fell. I sneezed, and I dropped the Game Boy into the water. And I honestly, at that point, I felt like my life shattered into pieces. Like, I just knew I was going to get in trouble. I lost the only console I'm ever going to have as a child. I was crying. I thought about it, and I this was an extra long bath, by the way, because I'm thinking, like, I'm contemplating life at this point. So this was an extra long bath, and I finally came to the conclusion that I would just, you know, fess up and tell my parents the truth. It wouldn't turn on at this point. Like, I knew it was over because I tried to turn it on and nothing happened. So anyway, you know, I got in trouble. I got a stern talking to. Got punished. Not gonna go into that, but I got punished, and basically my dad took the Game Boy and he put it inside of a towel and wrapped it up and just left it out overnight. And then the next morning I got up and he handed it to me and he said, try this. And I turned it on, and just my life was back to normal at that point. Like, my eyes lit up, you know, the screen came on, and it played perfectly. The only issue at that point is from that moment on, my Game Boy Advance screen was never as bright as it once was. So that was the battle scars on my Game Boy of my stupidity as a child. The screen just never got bright. So basically one thing led to the other, and I got a Nintendo, then I got a PlayStation, then I finally convinced my parents to give me an Xbox 360. I discovered YouTube gaming, and here I am today. So yeah. Still wish that my Game Boy screen was brighter.